welcome to another episode of Biscayne Stories where neighbors meet neighbors. Today we have KB resident Chrstine Arnholt. She is the founder of BrandCraftYOU. This is a new chapter in her life, after a long experience in the branding world, as we were talking pre-podcast. She's now specializing in inspiring health and vitality. How are you, Chrstine? How are you doing today?
Hi, Alejandro. I'm doing great. It's such a joy to be with your audience.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell us how did you make this transition? What are you doing with these new steps in your life?
For almost 30 years, I was in corporate America and I had leadership roles in marketing, branding, product development. And one of my favorite things to do was to create new branded experiences from scratch for millions of vacationers to enjoy. And after I left corporate America, I thought to myself, how do I want to use my skills, all of those skills that I have today? And so I've had a lifelong passion for health and vitality. And so I decided to go back to school because everything that I had done in school was all around branding and marketing and communications. And I had some psychology in there also, which I've really learned a lot more on with this health coaching. But I took 6 Cornell courses in 2020 to obtain a nutrition and healthy living certificate. I wanted to get all the science behind why the body does what it does. And by the way, I do believe that we have only scratched the surface. As much as we know about the amazing human body, I think it's the most amazing technological marvel ever. And it's working 24/7 on our behalf. It's just, how we find balance and support it. But it is an amazing system. And I learned so much about that in 2020, got all the science behind it. And then over the last year, I'm so grateful for this opportunity I've had to immerse and take a year-long course in honestly the best coaching program out there, Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. The reason why I say it's the best is because as a marketer and a brander, I really specialize in that what I call the consumer commercial connection, the why, right? Like that insight. We're all busy, we're all hassled. Like, why should I care about your product? Why should I even pay any little bit of attention to it? And so I really specialize in that. And so functional medicine is a really holistic way to look at your body and your health and understand from a systems perspective, what is it telling you when you have a symptom? It's not, for me, it's not just about, okay, let's go get something to squash that symptom. It's about, body, what are you telling me? You're brilliant, like you're working 24/7 for me. What are you trying to tell me? What do you need, right? And so I love that holistic approach. And I just graduated from the Coaching Academy, and I'm just super excited to be inspiring health and vitality, whatever expression that takes, through one-on-one coaching, which is magical, group coaching, also magical. And then I love doing speaking engagements as well.
So from your journey in these trainings that you've done and your year-long trainings and classes and courses in Cornell, what are some of the highlights?
So again, one of my big beliefs is that we have just scratched the surface and really understanding the human body and why it does what it does. And there is so much opportunity that we have to take our health back, because I'm just taking a step back now before I share more about what I've learned. But at being immersed in this world of health and vitality, lifelong, like I said, but specifically from an educational standpoint, really paying attention to the studies and what is going on out there, it is astounding to me that 4 in 10 adult Americans are living with at least 2 chronic diseases that impacts their life daily. 60% are living with at least one. 40%, over 103 million people, based on the latest CDC information, are living with 2 or more chronic conditions. And there was a recent study from Tufts University sharing that less than 7% of adult Americans are metabolically optimal, metabolically really healthy. Because you can talk about, okay, do you have a named disease? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling good? But I believe there's a universal truth. And while everybody has a different vision of what their health and vitality might be, a universal truth that I believe is that everybody wants to feel as good as possible while they're here on this earth. Would you agree with that?
100%.
So we want to be metabolically optimal. We want to feel good. And that only 6.8% of us walking around are optimal in terms of their stats, their sugar numbers, their cholesterol numbers, their, blood pressure, all of that information. That just says that the body is going through some challenges, and it's complex, like what is happening in this world. And I don't pretend to know all the answers, but um, there's a lot going on. Stress is a huge one. What we're doing to our food. I mean, food is such a good guy in terms of um, shifting an opportunity for somebody to feel good. Because what I've been taught, going back to what have I been taught over the last year. And so there are a big focus is on the 5 key modifiable personal lifestyle factors. And so those are sleep and relaxation. The second is exercise and movement. Then you have what I call the big kahuna, and that is nutrition
Mm.
is huge. Fourth is stress management, building resiliency. And then fifth, of course, is relationships and community, which you support us all so well in connecting us as a community, and that's really, really important. But nutrition is key. And so what I've learned from and the functional medicine approach is that food is not just energy. It is energy, of course, right? You have calories and you have that energy that is provided from eating food, but food is also information. It gives your body information because you've got your macronutrients, your micronutrients, your phytonutrients. Um, they're all giving your cells information. When we eat, we connect, either hopefully taking an opportunity to connect with ourselves by, being grateful for the food that we have and nurturing our bodies. But food is also medicine. Food is probably the best medicine out there. And so it speaks to what can we do to take our health back as it relates to food. I believe, there's some out there that believe a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. So just feed people calories and you solve their fueling needs. I believe that, again, food is information, energy, connection, and medicine. And you need to really focus mostly on eating good quality foods, whole foods, real foods. I guess I would call it real foods.
So from your personal journey, what are some of the changes you've done in nutrition that have affected your or impacted your life?
Oh my gosh, so many. And it's really just optimizing because I've always felt like I ate healthfully. And okay, I love, my ice cream and I love
Me too.
pizza and I love all that stuff. And it's just a matter of, okay, balancing and making sure you don't overindulge too much. But what I have found is that eating good quality whole foods, and one of my favorite things ever is eat the rainbow. So that's my favorite nutritional tip because everybody can understand that, from a young child to an older adult. And if you just think, and Skittles don't count when you're talking about the rainbow, right? Like you don't want to like do M&M's, Skittles, or anything like that. In terms of real, whole, mostly unprocessed foods,
Mm.
get in all those colors because, again, going back to it is all information. Feeding your cells different things that it needs, different nutrients, different phytochemicals that are good guys for your body and your mind. And so I really learned to optimize. And I'm sort of a geek about this whole nutrition world. In fact, I shadowed a practitioner last year, Terry Cochran, and she is amazing. And she's all about bioindividuality and supporting your body and listening to your body's hierarchy of needs. And it was through a podcast that I listened to between her and somebody else who I think is amazing, Cynthia Thurlow. I listened to this podcast, and this was a year and a half or so ago. And I said, oh my gosh, I bet you I have an oxalate sensitivity. So oxalates are really healthful things. They're in plants. They're and nuts. So like almonds are one of the most high oxalate foods. And it's a protective compound that the plants have. If you genetically have what is called a polymorphism and you don't process oxalates well, then you get inflammation, right? And if you believe that inflammation is the root cause of all disease, you want to minimize inflammation. I have a lot of these sensitivities: gluten sensitive, dairy sensitive, etc. But because I am gluten sensitive, I was eating gluten wheat alternatives. The big thing I was eating was almond based product. And I would wonder, even when I was in corporate America, I would grab handfuls of nuts just to refuel. But why do I not feel great? I found out later it's because I have an oxalate sensitivity. And what happened was, when I stopped eating everything almond based and really focused on balancing my body more, I found that I lost 10 pounds in a very short time and without trying. I'm a believer in the no deprivation zone. So I'm a believer in, if you eat real, whole, good foods that your body knows how to process, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You can't overindulge. And there's always, even on, so I have pizza at least once a week, but my pizza is a gluten-free version, right? My pizza does have dairy on it. It does have cheese.
What was that?
That was a palm frond.
Oh, okay.
In my beautiful backyard, my beautiful little sanctuary here.
I am sorry. It's okay.
You can't see, but
key living. Key life. So sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. But so I lost 10 pounds in very, very quickly. And I just thought, looking back, I was like, wow, I must have been so inflamed in a way without knowing it. And so I know now, through support of some of the people that I've shared with you that I follow and what I've learned, I know how to manage my my genetic polymorphisms. So it's not like I can never eat these things. But I'm also sulfur sensitive. And so sulfur sensitivity, sulfur foods like eggs and broccoli and things like that. And I have that sensitivity as well. And so I can't overindulge. I need eggs maybe once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks. I crave them. It's good for your brain, good fat, choline. It's all good, but I manage it. And it's, to me, at the end of the day, the word that always comes up for me over the last few years as I have been on this journey, it's balance. So when I was in corporate America, I didn't have that balance, right? I thought I was managing stress really, really well. I was just moving a lot. But I don't think I really was managing it as well as I could. And that is sort of one of my ongoing opportunities.
I like these kind of podcasts because they resonate with me, because I went through, a stomach gastro related issue for years. And I've been going my gastro forever. And he would tell me he would just give me my prescriptions, my Prilosec or Santac, and I was on those for a while, and I didn't want. I'm not a big fan of medication in general. I'll take it if I need to. Of course, I don't exaggerate. I am the first person that if something hurts, I go to the doctor, and I'll try a little bit of everything. But with my stomach, it's been like 6 years, and they always got me to this point. And I was in this cycle of feeling better, not feeling better, trying different things, and then not being able to get out of this cycle. And my doctors would tell me, you're fine. You shouldn't feel anything. You're fine. Eat whatever you want. So that nutrition was something that I started on my own, but I didn't know what I was doing until, my girlfriend's aunt, she's a doctor. She also looks at your nutrition, and she gave me the super strict diet. She said, no grains, no grains, no chicken. And I always knew that chicken was not the best for me, because even though I was fine, I know it's healthy, it's lean, but my stomach wasn't always happy with it. So I put through it. So I removed all these things from my diet. And she got me from this step that I've been in for 5 years, 6 years, struggling with my belly, feeling good, feeling bad, feeling good, feeling bad. She got me to this next level. So I know what you're talking about, and I tell everybody, how awesome it is to be able to be free. Like I was telling you pre-podcast, I had my sixth beer, 2 days ago, after 3-4 years of not being able to drink anything. It's not so much of the gluten itself, but apparently the pesticides and whatever they use
Yeah.
for
Like say,
the grains, right? That is now, it's not the same grain that maybe they were eating in the
no,
medieval
it's not.
times. We are eating a different grain that has other things in it, and those things are the things that are affecting my body, not necessarily the grain itself. But that's what she was pointing towards. And the same thing with the chicken, because the chicken eats the grains, and then we consume the chicken. So I've been doing grass-fed beef and my veggies and my fruits, and I've felt a difference. I did that 2 months. It took me 4 months, because my first 2 months was all over the place trying to
Yeah.
adjust. But I got serious, and I felt the difference,
Yeah.
and I'm very happy with it. So,
And I have to applaud your bravery for going on, because many people, and listening to your body, right? Because your initial physician was saying you
you're
should be
fine. Yeah, you should be
fine.
good. You should be good.
But your body was saying,
Yeah,
hello, I'm not feeling good. I'm not fine. And so
exactly.
good for you for continuing to pursue, because we all deserve to feel good, right? We need to have joy while we're here and feel good. And I know exactly what you're saying about the grains. I think there's something like 300 million pounds of glyphosate that's sprayed on our crops every year, and it is really deleterious to our health. Um, I also am with you. I haven't eaten chicken for years. And it's interesting because I used to really, really enjoy it. And I don't even know, must be at least 4 or 5 years that I've eaten chicken. But I just did not feel like the texture was right. There was
Mm.
just something off about it to me. And this was before I learned from this practitioner that I followed, who I think is brilliant, Terry Cochran. And she calls actually chicken the dirty bird,
Wow.
because research has shown that the crowding conditions that we subject our commercial farming practices to, these animals to, creates something called amyloid proteins. And we have amyloid proteins, but they are, as I understand it, and again, I'm not an expert in that, but they are truncated protein structures, and they are challenging for your body to digest, and they create issues with health. And chicken it's been found to have the highest quantity of these. What works for you and what your vision is of health and vitality is different than my vision of health and vitality. But as a health coach, it's not about me.
Mm.
It's about my client. Whether my client is an individual or a group or an audience, it is about them and what is their vision of health and vitality. And how can I best support them in achieving that and connecting to their meaning and purpose, right? It's really just, we all have the magic in us. It's really just illuminating that power and connecting to that meaning and purpose to support people in making even small changes to their lifestyle habits to support better health, right? Like exercise. That is a dirty word for a lot of people. People think it should be hard, but it's really just moving. I mean, I wear this Aura ring, And I originally got the Aura Ring to understand my sleep and to get more information on my sleep.
What is that? Is that the
It's
ring that?
called an Aura Ring, Oura.
Mm-hmm.
And I love just data and getting information on what's happening in my body and
Okay.
what causes numbers to be better or not. Some people use other tracking devices, right? Like they use Fitbit or Apple Watches or continuous glucose monitors, right? So it's just really a matter of getting more data and getting more information to help you understand what's going on with your body. But I was going to say, back to movement and exercise, it does not have to be hard, right? Like there's times where I'm just, because I do a lot of cooking at home and washing the dishes, washing those pots and pans, and my Aura Ring will pop up a message, hey, I recognize a workout that you didn't record. And washing dishes, which often gets a higher level of exercise, the metrics, than some of these classes that I take. So it's really just, and what is the best exercise you do? It's the one that you love, the one that you'll do. Think about what you want to do that brings you joy, and just move more, move differently, move more. Your body was meant to move. It doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be complicated. Just got to move more.
So you did all this training, right? And you're starting BrandCraftYOU, like as
Yep.
you mentioned. So how do you envision this? I want one of the questions I like to ask people that start their businesses, their entrepreneurship journey, is like, if you had no limitations, where would you like this to be? Because we all dream, right? We have ideas and we see this vision, or we want it to be. What does that look like for you?
I'm thinking big. I'm thinking big because you know what? First of all, I ask everybody, do you know anybody that has a health coach? And it's not that I know a lot of people who are super connected, but I do know some people who are very connected. Nobody I know has a health coach yet. So I think about like the cruise industry. When I started in the cruise industry, very minuscule amount of the entire vacation market was taken up with cruise. And now it's grown so much, but it's still a small percentage of the entire vacation marketplace. And I liken that to health coaching, right? Like it is an up and coming business, I guess, but it is so needed. There's nothing more important out there than for people to take their health back. I heard something or read an article the other day about first time this next generation is not going to outlive their parents. I said, what? We have more money than ever. We're more, we have more tools than ever. And yet we're not healthy at all. And so that equals to me, you don't live with vitality. And that equals to me, no fun. And so it's really about taking our health back and making sure that we can support people. And I will do that one client at a time and illuminate that magic. And where do I want to go? I have a great idea for a book and an app and
Good.
all kinds of fun stuff. So I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm going to stay in my flow and I am going to stay in my passion. And I just think that whatever we can do to support people and feeling better is a good guy. We show up better for the world, right? If we feel good, we do good. We show up better for ourselves, for our family, at our jobs. We inspire others. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm looking forward to making an impact.
Pre-podcast, you were telling me about some tools that you use with your clients. Would you mind sharing some of those?
Oh, of course. Love it. So grateful for these tools. They're amazing. So I think I spoke a little bit about the phytonutrients, right? And eating the rainbow. And so there are these great tools that I share with clients that that I have in my resource library from Functional Medicine Coaching Academy that talk about the different colors. There's 6 color categories of phytonutrients. And so it talks about the different colors and what the power is in each of those colors and what it supports with. And so that's a favorite tool. There's even a tool related to phytonutrients for kids that has little check boxes Well, it's for, I guess, kid in all of us, because sometimes we need that, right? We need that support. It has little check boxes. So every day you can say, did I get, purple in? Did I get my red in? Did I get my orange in? And so it's much easier to get the greens in. And just as a fun fact, the purples and blues are the hardest for us Americans to get in. Um, but that's a fun tool. And then there's something that we did early on in our coaching program, that was to go to there's a company called via.org, and you can take a survey. It's a free survey on your character strengths, and it is so cool because you can learn what your top strengths are, because we all have all 24 of these character strengths that they rank, but we have top character strengths, right? And so, my top ones are like hope, appreciation of beauty and excellence. I'm really up there on creativity, all of that. But in fact, one of the key things that I've learned in coaching is to illuminate and spot character strengths when you're working with clients. And they realize that they have all this power in them. They have all these strengths, and they've accessed those strengths before. And so that is a great opportunity in coaching. One of my favorite things to do is to really spot those character strengths and really get at some provocative questions around them, and help people in seeing the power that they have. Another fun tool, there's so many, but another fun tool is something called the wellness wheel. You can Google it, wellness wheel of coaching. And so it really helps to sort of rank where you're feeling in your life. So there's a wheel that has like physical environment, career, money, love, health, all of these, like 8 or so different categories. And the idea is that you rank them from 1 to 10. And 1 is in the middle of the wheel, and 10 is at the outside. And after you rank all of these areas, you ask yourself, will my wheel roll, right? Is my life in balance? Or are there certain pockets that, oh my gosh, I'm really only a 3 there? That's a very bumpy ride. It helps to illuminate sort of what to work on first for some people. It makes them realize, oh, I didn't realize, but you know what? It's something I've wanted to work on. I've wanted to work on my stress. And I just never do. I just never take that 3 minutes to meditate. But you know what? It's something I want to work on. Let me start with that. And so it's that idea of discovery and exchange of ideas and information that's really, really cool. And there's a ton of tools. There's, nutritional tools where they've had dietitians and nutritionists put together amazing meal plans. I was thinking about you, Alejandra, there's the elimination diet, which is a diet that is, and the word diet is really meant as a temporary thing, right? They have food plans, which are meant to be lifelong. But the word diet is more of a temporary, and the elimination diet is a temporary because it's hard, right? You restrict a lot of the top allergens so that you can, after you start to reintroduce foods, you can understand what your body is getting pissed off at, what is making it inflame and go get angry.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's a big surprise to people.
Yeah.
And so, but that's a temporary thing. And in fact, I just signed up through our alumni program to coach practitioners on going through the elimination diet, which is a really
Congrats.
Opportunity. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. But so there are a lot of tools. So thanks for asking. We have so many, and it's rich. The library is rich.
And it's awesome. It gives people an opportunity, like an easy way to see where they stand before making a next step decision.
Yeah, yeah. And coaching really is all about your agenda. Again, it's not about me. It's about you. And I've been trained really to support people in creating the health and vitality and life that they want, right? What's important to them based on their meaning and purpose and their values and their long-term vision.
Pre-podcast, you were telling me what health coaching was not. Would you mind elaborating on that?
Yeah. Yeah. So as a health coach, I don't prescribe, diagnose, or treat.
Mm.
That's not my scope, right? Like that is for a practitioner. They have the prescription pads, they diagnose disease, etc. They treat disease. What my role as a health coach is, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been inspired by someone who, after you've engaged with them, has just like put that extra spring in your step, has just like made you feel so empowered that you go off and do whatever it is, like a mentor or something that says, "Oh my gosh, that it was such a great talk. I'm going to go work on my website right now."
Yes.
You ever had that in your life?
Yes.
It's powerful and it's magical. And a health coach is really a behavioral change specialist. That is what health coaches are trained in. And they are there to support their clients in changing behavior based on their vision of health and vitality. And they use a combination of, their immersive education and knowledge in functional medicine, functional nutrition, positive psychology, mind body medicine, and then the art and science of coaching to really support people in getting results. And it's so interesting because now there is a huge movement for health coaches to be part of collaborative care teams at physicians' offices because physicians don't have time. They don't have time to hear about your story or your why or how you feel. You feel good, Alejandro. Move on. Just stop eating gluten and you're good. And you're like, wait, no, 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 I'm not. Right? So a health coach is there as a partner. Think about it as a guide, right? Like if you were going to do this great trail hike or climb a mountain or something like that, that you needed help in doing, they're not going to climb the mountain for you, right? But you want to get to this place, they're going to help you get there. They're going to stand side by side through your ebbs and flows, connecting to your power and supporting you, most importantly, in connecting to your power for lasting behavior change. So that you can just, after that time, I mean, behavior change, they say, I mean, you can look it up. They say what it takes on average about 3 months to change a behavior, to really change a behavior. But it's not like a linear thing, right? Like people go in and out, they regress, right? Like in my case, I know I had a really good meditation practice and then I stopped. I just stopped. Life got in the way and I stopped for a couple weeks. I'll get back there. And the other thing is, in terms of stress management, self compassion, right? You got to be compassionate with yourself and know that we're not perfect. We're humans, right? And behavior change is hard. That's the
Mm.
biggest deal. It's hard. And so, health coaches, I think it's not really a question of why have a health coach. I believe it's a question of why wouldn't you?
It makes a lot of sense too. And again, it resonates with me because if my gastro would have had an additional like not service or guidance or team that would have led, okay, with my gastro, first thing he told me was no alcohol, no saucy foods, no coffee, and something else. He never mentioned anything about quantities. And I was stuffing my face and I was still struggling, and I was taking my Santac, my Prilosec at the time. And it was not only until I made a mistake on a recipe that my aunt gave me to try to like maybe eat healthier. I made a mistake and I ate, I think it was like 7 grams. It was supposed to be 7 grams of protein, and I ate 7 grams in total of my entire meal. I think this was a little bit, but just giving my stomach the break. I did it for like 3 weeks, and then I realized the mistake that I did. But the immediate relief that I felt by just lowering my quantities and giving my stomach a break instead of filling it up, creating that pressure, that
Yeah,
discomfort, it was amazing, you know. And that
it's a
was
really good
after
point.
months. So if I would have had someone that could have coached me earlier, 6 years ago, 7 years ago,
6 years of your life, 7 years of your life.
struggling with this issue, not knowing
Oh,
what's happening. It took me a while to get here, but yeah, I agree. And I think that I think it's going to be a standard for me now, like to talk to health coaches, or at least get tips or advice depending on people's budgets, right? Like more health coach. I'm seeing more health coaching now than ever before. Nutrition. Social media is talking about nutrition as the root cause of a lot of our diseases. Like you've mentioned many times, you gave me some numbers, right? 4 out of 10 Americans have two chronic diseases, right?
over 103 million people are walking around, adult Americans walking around. So our neighbors, 40% are walking around managing two or more chronic diseases every day. And some may not even understand how poorly they feel. Some may not even realize, oh my gosh, I never knew I was really feeling this badly. Life is so much better, like post these little changes.
Before we wrap up, I have some Key Biscayne related questions. Before I ask you those, how can we connect with you? Where can we find you?
Oh, well, Instagram,
Mhm.
Chris Arnholt, Chrstine Arnholt. And I just launched a website, BrandCraftYOU.com. And you could call me 305-793-5628. And you can email me, Chris@BrandCraftYOU.com.
Great. I'll put that information in the show notes for those interested. And now on to some Key Biscayne questions. What is your favorite part of Key Biscayne?
Oh, what isn't? I I tell you, for years, and I would call it my island, right? Like I just was so grateful. Every time I go over that bridge, I am so grateful. And I've been on some really nice vacations. And every time we've come back from a nice vacation, I just said, why did we leave? Like this place is amazing. It is so beautiful. It has so much going for it. And when I was driving out to Doral every day and coming home, late at night, I just having that transition going over the bridge to our amazing island paradise. I just have so much gratitude for it and for island living. Whatever that expression is. And
Mhm.
every day it's different, every weekend it's different. I mean, we all have our habits and our patterns. And I do a lot of eating and cooking at home. So I don't go out that much, but I do have my favorite places when I do go out. Um, and the beach club, the yacht club, the state park, just being able to take a walk around the island and feel safe and secure and um, yeah, this lifestyle is just it doesn't get better. It's just beautiful. It's really beautiful, this community. The community center is another one. I didn't even know that until until I did the lunch and learn at the community center in July. I didn't even know that there was a seniors program, that you don't have to belong to the community center,
Mhm.
but if you're 50 plus, you can enjoy some of the amazing programming that they have.
I think it's called the Key Biscayne Active Senior or something like that.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable, the program that Roxy puts together. And so we are blessed to have so many good guys on this island and so much great support. And for that, I'm hugely grateful that I have the opportunity to live here. One of my most treasured places is where I am right now in my backyard. And it brings me so much joy to be here.
Can you describe for us a perfect weekend in the Key for you?
Ooh, a perfect weekend. Okay. So Saturdays, I don't spend a lot of time on the key because that's my day. Like I'm out running errands. That's like old behavior, legacy behavior, but I start with a dance class off the key, etc. And so I'm doing a lot, shopping, etc. But on Sundays, that is my Key Biscayne day. And if I could, every time I go to the beach club and take a walk on that beautiful beach, I say, why don't I do this more often? Right? Like it's right there. It's literally right there. It takes me 10 minutes to walk there or whatever it is. Well, why don't I do that more often? And so a perfect weekend would be starting with or ending with a beautiful beach walk to the lighthouse, maybe enjoying the water a little bit, going to, one of my favorite restaurants, going to the yacht club for a happy hour drink, um, and, immersing in just the feeling of community. I even love just walking around the key. I'm a very outdoor person and
Mm.
I like to be active. And so even just walking around, seeing people that and running into people is just such a wonderful thing. I love to walk with friends. Um, so that is all part of my perfect weekend. And then of course having time to enjoy my home and sanctuary with my family and my puppies.
Awesome. Chrstine, thank you so much for joining us on the show and telling us your story, your transition from the corporate world to starting your own health coaching and health and vitality inspiring business. Good luck. It's awesome to be an entrepreneur. So I wish you the best. And thank you for jumping on the show.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. It's been my pleasure to connect with you and to connect with your audience.